This Algebra Nation video will cover page 118, the right side of page 118, because the left side of page 118 is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo to you. And we'll also do the left side of page 119. And if you let this happen to you on the EOC, you will not get a 399 or higher. Strangely enough, that's not the letter C on his uniform for the Cubs. Nice.
This set of videos is going to be on factoring. We're going to give you a game plan for 4 types of factoring in all these videos. We're going to first start with the biggest rule, the greatest rule. We have to see what's in common and factor it out. And that is called the greatest common factor. Or in short, we just like to call it GCF. To find the GCF, you need 2 things. 1, find the GCF of the coefficients, find what you can factor out of the numbers. And then for each variable, find the smallest exponent. So looking at this first example here, first let's look at 25 and 45. What is the biggest number that both of these are divisible by? What can I divide 25 and 45 divided by what? What is the greatest common factor? And in this case, we know 25 is 5 and 5, and 45 is 5 and 9, and the biggest number is going to be 5. Now let's look at the actual variables. With C, I see C to the third and C to the second. I can go ahead and take out 2, the smaller of the 2 powers. Again, we're taking the smaller of the 2 powers because that's the most they have in common. If one of them has 3 and the other has 2, that means I can take 2 away from each of them and there'll be 1 left on one of them, but that's the most. The most I can take out is the smaller of the powers. Here I have d to the third and d to the third. In this case, they're the same, so I'd be taking it all out. And then lastly, w squared and w to b. Remember, there's a 1 there. I would take a 1 out. So the GCF is going to be ready. The greatest common factor would be 5, c to the second, d to the third, and w to the first. But that's what I factored out. Again, that is just the greatest common factor. That's what's in common. That's what both of those terms are divisible by. But in the end, I need to figure out what I have left. So I need to completely factor this. So watch what happens with this next example. 10 b to the 4th c minus 25 b to the 5th. So when you see this type of question, you can say, okay, 10 and 25 are both divisible by 5. But I have to say at the same time what is left, and that's what I didn't do yet. And I can say that when I divide a 5, there's a 2 left, and there's a 5, or rather a negative 5 left. Then you do the same thing with the b's. The b's, I see a 4 and a 5. I can take out a 4th power, because that's the smaller of the 2. And that means there's nothing left with the first term, but with the second term, there's 1 left. And then lastly, the c, just hanging out by itself, so you just drop it down. So in addition to taking out the greatest common factor, we have to write what we have left. So with that in mind, 10 and 25, I'm going to take out a 5, because that's the number in common. 4th power and a 5th power, I would take out the smaller of the 2, and nothing to take out for C. Then I say, what do I have left? 10 divided by 5 is 2. B to the 4th, took it all out, it's gone. C, I left it alone. Minus 25 divided by 5 is 5. B to the 5th, took 4 away, I'm left with 1. This is just like dividing, because factoring means dividing. So notice, I divided the coefficients, I subtracted the exponents, just like you did division before. I divided the coefficients, I subtracted the exponents. Let's do another. For this next one, 36 and 28. Whew, what's divisible by those? That might take a moment to figure out. In the end, they're both divisible by 4. A to the second and a to the 5th, I have to take out the smaller of the 2 numbers. E to the 6th and e to the 4th, the smaller of the 2 numbers. Now, what do I have left? We're going to Divide the coefficients, subtract the exponents. 36 divided by 4 is 9. A squared, took 2 away, it's gone. 6 minus 4 will give you e squared. Plus, plus. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 5 took 2 away, I'm left with 3. 4, 4, gone. And that's your final answer. And that is how you're going to work out this first rule of factoring. Every time you're asked to factor or need to factor, you see what's in common, you factor it out.